Welcome to Impact Farming, where we introduce you to the people and ideas that will have a massive impact on your farming operation. Brought to you by Farm Marketer. Sit down, start the engine, and let's roll with today's show.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Impact Farming Show. Today, we have an amazing guest joining us. We have Mark Lepp from FarmLink. How are you, Mark?
Doing great today. How about you?
Good. Really excited for this topic. We are going to be discussing redefining grain marketing. And to me, this conversation is so critical, and it's a long overdue episode. So no pressure, Mark. Here we go.
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Yeah.
So before we dive into the interview, can you tell our audience a little bit more about you and FarmLink?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, my name is Mark Lepp. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FarmLink. We started business about 18 crop years ago, and we're Western Canadian based, and we work with farmers marketing, giving strategic marketing advice for their individual operations spread throughout Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta.
Excellent. So we are going to be talking about grain marketing, and I wanted to just chat about that before I dive into my first question. There are so many parts of agriculture that farmers need to be comfortable with, working on, and grain marketing, I feel, is a secret sauce that a lot of farmers can dive into and make a big impact on their farming operation. So I'm excited to talk to you and get you to share some of your wisdom and what you guys are doing in the industry. But why don't we start off very 101? Because to me, when somebody says grain marketing, and I imagine many of the farmers out there feel the same way, the definition is a little bit muddy. So that's why I want to talk to you as CEO of FarmLink and get you to clear the air. Can you share the true definition of grain marketing with our audience?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. That's a great question, and it's a good place to start. Grain marketing isn't really a new concept or an entirely new idea, but we recognize that many producers and farmers might not be aware of exactly what it is and really what the advantages are to develop a customized grain marketing strategy for their farm. So simply put, grain marketing is the technical art of selling grain. And it kind of, really what it is it's a series of informed decisions, both from external factors and internal factors to a farm, and all those decisions and subsequent actions that, turn the grain and the crop that they produced into profit. It really considers two things, market analysis being one and marketing decisions, the second one, and both of those together puts you in control of your grain. So, with the market analysis, what we do is we focus on external factors in the world and how that impacts the general market direction. So, what that could include are things like macro trends, like what's going on in the U.S. politics and how that impacts trade. Local prices of what's going on here in Western Canada, depending on the crop, and what does those variances in cash prices mean to that overall market trend, and things like supply and demand, weather, politics, geopolitical issues, and all these things together really help us put together an understanding of where prices are coming from at that point in time, and also create some signals of what might mean what to do about that crop in your individual marketing plan. So that's the market analysis part. And the second part would be marketing decisions. And those are 100% about your farm. So they're informed decisions about taking the crop that you worked so hard for to put together and grow. And it's really about doing that and taking your own farm dynamics and turning that crop into cash and allowing your farm to be profitable and build a sustainable legacy for your farm. Marketing decisions, they focus on internal factors like cash flow, risk tolerance, profitability targets, who you like to sell to, your management style, And also probably, one of the most important parts of that is your individual business goals. Where do you want to take your farm? What kind of profit levels are you seeking given the environment, the marketing environment that you're in?
Okay, fantastic. That's the best definition I've heard yet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that is grain marketing, the definition. That covers everything you wanted to share there. We reviewed what it is. Can you share what it isn't?
Oh, well, you are putting me on the spot today. That's a tough question because, grain marketing in the context of what most people are familiar with would be more of the transactional side of selling the crop. There's marketing and strategies, and then there's the timing of selling. And obviously selling is a very important to marketing of the execution of that marketing planning and decision-making process. So really what grain marketing isn't is not your grain elevator, not your broker. And those two things are very different, right? We'll get back to those two shortly. I'll just share a story with you that, it's really shown itself as we've grown FarmLink and worked with more farmers. When we started FarmLink, and throughout Western Canada, the prairie pool elevator system was alive and well. The Canadian wheat board was alive and well, and so the structural dynamics of marketing grain at that time was such that you had outside partners for your farm that were working together with you to help maximize your profitability. The wheat board, farmers were selling their wheat and barley, which ended up was a significant portion and percentage of their crop, where we didn't have to worry about the actual nuances of what the markets were doing, like I mentioned earlier, like with the market analysis and then the marketing decisions, because the market analysis and those sales with wheat through the wheat board was done for you, so you didn't have to worry about that. And also with the structure of the Manitoba pool, or the pool system. I grew up in Manitoba, so I use Manitoba. But the pool elevator system was such that when you sold your grain to the system, the theory was that the profits that were in the system profits of the elevator system from that farm to the port and beyond, the profits of that were returned back to its members. So what we've seen since then, in the last very short period of time, as far as how long we've been farming in Western Canada, the structure of marketing has drastically changed from what was a system that had all stakeholders in mind, and today, if it's a grain elevator, the stakeholders that are important to a grain elevator are the owners of the elevator. And with the broker, it's a little bit different, but their job on that day is to find you the best price on that day for whichever crop that you're looking for. Both of those have no strategy attached to that transaction. They're both an important part of the transaction and a really important part of grain marketing, but it's the end piece, not the whole piece. So that's why I mentioned elevators and brokers. They're a key part of that, but each have their structure and each has their role in an individual farm marketing plan. But that's not grain marketing. That's the execution side.
Love it. That's fantastic. So we touched on how we have recently had a lot of changes in the industry, but if we look at the way farmers have been marketing their grain, let's step back and look at crop inputs, farm machinery, and how much advancement has happened, how much change has happened in the last 20 years. It's wild, right? Like, look at the machinery, look at the crop inputs. Now, let's look at grain marketing and look at the processes and the tools and the way farmers market their grain. The changes aren't quite so dramatic. And I know that you guys are really doing some exciting stuff in the industry. So I want to talk about how you guys at FarmLink are changing the future of grain marketing. You're bang on. That's exactly right. I've been involved in agriculture, grew up on a farm here, a grain oilseed farm in Manitoba. And, even in the 17, 18 years that we've been working with FarmLink and marketing grain, the
the evolution of producing grain is incredible. We going from the introduction of the first hybrid canola varieties. Now I'm dating myself, but a long time ago, and and just how that the farm genetics and production practices have revolutionized what we can do and we can't do, and opening up new worlds for more crops and new crops that have since in the last 20 years have gone from an idea to one of the major some of the major crops on a lot of farmers' operations. So and further to the innovation that is focused on agriculture, I've been part of countless and attended a lot of different ag tech conferences over the years, and I really take note of what's focusing on the financial aspect of it, because I'm a little biased, that's what we do. But in looking at the investments that are going into agriculture, whether it's some of the life sciences companies that are really spending billions of dollars to help growers grow more crops, or even with ag tech firms that are putting money into and investing in small startups, with the 99.9% of that focus and the money and the venture capital and the money that's going into agriculture is in production, which is great. Allows us to produce more grain more sustainably, and really allows producers to bring a more continuous supply of the crops that our end customers want. But there's no one that is putting that money in. What do we do to help and to make it the most efficient entire ecosystem, and really from the bin to the bank is what we're focusing on with FarmLink. So when we started what we're doing here, before us, FarmLink was the first in Western Canada to work with growers on a one-on-one marketing to give them strategies for their individual operation. There's a lot of newsletters, there's lots of newspapers that have anecdotal strategies and just market commentaries, and we were the first ones to take that from a newsletter forum into here's the market information, and this was what it means to you and your farm. And so what we're really doing now is we're taking all of our learnings over the last 18 years and we're revolutionizing what we're doing in grain marketing. And so what we're powering is we're taking all that knowledge and the information and those relationships that we have with our customers and adding timely and advanced technology to the analysis, both on the market analysis part and the marketing decisions part, to help to bring some more power into that grain marketing program and the platform for growers, and we call it GrainFox. So we use our market analysis. We have a team of analysts. We have a network of grain marketing advisors in Western Canada, and 20 years of statistical and historical data of how all the outside information and the noise, how that it becomes relevant to a farm on their own marketing operation.
Fantastic. Why don't you share a little bit more about GrainFox? Tell us a little bit more about the platform, what it is today, and what your plans are on how it will evolve over the coming years.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. It's GrainFox is modern grain marketing. It's a technology tool that uses FarmLink's market analysis and data and really gives producers three things: financial power, automation with a human touch, and unbiased advisor support on demand. So today, what does that mean? So financial power, allows our customers to know what they have in their operation, what it's worth, when to sell, and most importantly, why. Like what we look at each crop as an individual crop, but also recognize that a farm that is growing more than one crop has a portfolio of crops, and each of those has overlapping and different strategies, different short, medium, and long-term outlooks. And it's really about taking all that information, a portfolio approach, and helping put that financial power in the hands of our customers. So it's, the automation with the human touch. What I mean by that is, farmers are in control, as just to the most extent, weather aside, of their production. But we're here to help to navigate of when to sell, and give that direction. And on the unbiased advisor support, our customers can get a quick second opinion whenever they want and whenever they need to sell, and have that with confidence. We're unbiased. With what I mentioned earlier about the changing dynamics of the marketplace from what it was to what it is. What it was is a system that was built to have the support, to build the support and where everyone benefits from the profits of that entire ecosystem of that. But in the transition of that from what was the co-ops and the wheat board into what it is now, we believe it's really important to provide all the information in an unbiased manner, and to have that for that grower to make the best decisions that they can on that time. So that's what we have today, and what we have coming here in the next 6 to 12 months are a couple of really neat things that we're really excited about. We are using machine learning to help us with a whole bunch of different aspects of this in analysis and also recommendations. It'll allow us to build those predictive sales recommendations for our customers, really display what the price trends are doing on the macro and the broader world scale, and what that means to the individual farm and their individual locations. We'll have a market forecaster as part of that as well. We're just about to launch a comprehensive grain management system. So what that is allows our customers to keep track of their acres, their yields, their sales. We're going to have a budgeting and benchmarking tool, just to how as you look at the market dynamics and the sales strategy, what does that mean from a profit perspective from the operation? And that'll allow us and our customers to see what that looks like as far as profit in the short, medium, and long term for their operation. One of the features we're going to launch here before harvest time is a local price mapper. So our customers can see live what the local cash prices are for their portfolio of crops, or whatever crops that they want that are local to them, whether it's local or they can look anywhere throughout North America to see what the prices are doing on that day on their farm. So we're also going to add things like market progress reports to keep them on track, and some smart grain marketing recommendations based on their farm profile.
Fantastic. Nice. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're really excited. The feedback so far has been exceptional, and we believe we're on the right path to really give our customers a tool that can really empower their marketing and put the power back in their control of making those decisions and the right ones for their farm.
Nice. So I know we might chat about this a little bit later, but I just wanted to clarify now. So it is an app that farmers can download. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's GrainFox, and you can take a look at it on our FarmLink website, farmlinksolutions.ca, and it's really as easy as 2 clicks, and they're able to try it out for free for 90 days.
Fantastic. I talked to a lot of grain farmers, and I think the desire is there to be proactive grain marketers, but sometimes we fall back on old habits. And to be honest, some of the terms and processes in this industry in grain marketing can be a little bit overwhelming. So I think this app, this technology is long overdue. And I mean, if you look at every other industry, you can go onto your phone, find out anything, order anything, be connected to anything like that. And its time has come in agriculture, and that'll be a handy tool because, as you said, there's not a lot of support to help farmers to take it from the bin to the bank. And this is where they can go in. If, growing more and making advancements on production, that's great. We got to do that. But there is also, if you can make more for what you are selling, you're gaining there as well. And that's through strategy, right?
Yeah, and it's there's so much noise, external factors, whether it's, what's going on in U.S.-China tensions, what does that mean for tariffs? What does that mean, all the way down to what does that mean for my farm? And then you have, I mentioned earlier with grain buyers or brokers, here is the best price today. Well, just because it's a good basis today, what does that mean that it's a good time to execute on that based on a strategy? sometimes yes and sometimes no, right? So there's just so much noise in there, and all we're trying to do is to bring all that down to a comprehensive, easy to follow, easy to understand program that has only the customer and the farmer in mind of what's best for that customer.
I love it. Okay, so we are looking here at the future of grain marketing. Let's talk about this compared to traditional grain marketing. Do you want to go there and share how this approach is a little bit different?
Yeah, it is different. We call it smart grain marketing. And GrainFox adds the most important ingredients. Like we're not changing the end result of what we've done now for 18 years. But what we're doing with GrainFox is we're like shifting those traditional grain marketing to modern grain marketing. So the key factors of that would be the key ingredients would be, the data, all the information that's possible, both from the farming individual farm, but also from all the external sources that influence those cash prices and the decisions for that operation. And we're taking technology along with machine learning to really make that, to learn as fast as we can to make the most profitable decisions at the end of the day for our customers. So, at the end of the day, it's not about removing the best elements of grain marketing. Like we've learned so much and we have such a great relationship with our customers who work one-on-one with an advisor. So we're not looking at all to change that. But we're adding to it as concrete data to know exactly what you have, what it's worth, when to sell, and most importantly, why, and ultimately achieve your financial goals. So we will have a few different levels of subscription levels for GrainFox, and it really will cater to what each individual farm needs for their operation. We certainly will have our grain marketing advisors available to work with customers as we have since we started our business, and then we'll also be able to have different platforms for a grower to just have that information and that power and the data there specific for their operation to allow them to achieve what their goals are for their farm. We put so much time into growing that crop, and this is about taking it from protecting what the investment and the time and the stress that's involved in putting that crop into the bin and helping it take it to achieve their financial goals.
I love it. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really just putting the tools and the knowledge in the farmer's hand, into their hand.
Correct.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong. For so many years, you have the brilliant market analysts out there and all those guys talking about all the different ways that you can market and secure contracts for your grain. To me, it almost seems like it was a little bit out here. And then FarmLink, you guys came along and you had advisors, and still do, to take all this information and work with the farmer. But there was still, and still is, that person available to give a little bit more information. But to me, it seems like you're really just taking all this out here and putting it right here. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah, it's and that's you reminded me of how we started FarmLink. It was we were participating in newsletters and giving market information distributed in a newsletter. And then more and more customers, a lot of those are still our customers today after all this time, started asking, well, can I talk to you? Like I don't have the time or the research, and help me understand what this means to me to make sure that I'm doing the best job for my farm. So that's how it's evolved. And now we're really, the next evolution for FarmLink is how we're going to take the new technology that's available. Like 20 years ago, new technology was sending something out in an email instead of a fax. So it's drastically changed, right? And it's like you mentioned, all the different, we're not taking it to like an Amazon or something like that, where, like you mentioned, all the technology that we use today on our farm or on our computer, our phone or our computers, that allows us to do, commerce at levels that we've never experienced before. And I think COVID really, for sure, accelerated that. You don't have to go to a store anymore. You just have to show up in a cardboard box in your front door. But so we're taking some of the technologies that are available today and focusing it on the farm finance and marketing and bringing that to the farm.
Love it. This is awesome. Okay, so I love everything that you've shared. This is exciting stuff. There's a lot of farmers out there that really do want to market their grain proactively. They want to be on top of this. I think this is a huge step to taking away that intimidation factor and putting it in their hands. Now, let's say somebody in our audience is sitting there and they're going, okay, I want to develop a grain marketing plan. And you are an expert in this industry. If I said to you, Mark, what would I, Tracy, the grain farmer, put into a smart grain marketing plan? Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The place to start, I'd say there's 6 main areas that you'd really want to focus on in building your own smart grain marketing plan. And I'll get into some of the details of each of them. Like the first one would be a crop production plan. Market analysis would be another key factor. Your financial position, your marketing strategy, your actions and timelines, and then evaluation is really important for the evolution of any business plan and marketing plan. So on the crop production plan, what I mean by that is, Tracy, what your farm is, what your crop rotations typically are and what they could possibly be. Your farm and, what rotation maximizes your total potential, not just from a year-by-year basis, but from a long-term sustainability perspective from this is what I can grow, this is what's healthy for my soil, et cetera, right? The second part of market analysis would be to gather as much unbiased market information from credible sources to make good grain marketing decisions. So it's about monitoring those market conditions to make a sale when pricing is strong. And that leads into the third part, which is the financial position. Understand where you stand in an ever-changing market. Like the markets are volatile to say the least. Yeah. And the same with Mark, your own, the first part of the crop production plan, the crop production plans are volatile to say the least as well. Like this year already, here we are in, towards the end of June, and we've had extreme dry conditions throughout the bulk of the prairies, and then general rain, and then heat, and so we're you're dealing with variability on every aspect of your farm, with the production and also the financial aspect of it. So the fourth part I talked about was the marketing strategy, and that key thing would be to really understand what your risk tolerance is, and take a look at the different ways to manage that risk or to reduce it, by managing bin storage and some of the sales and pricing opportunities for you to that. And the fifth part of the thing I mentioned was actions and timelines. So those first four pieces are the building blocks for your marketing plan. And then with your actions and timelines, understanding your financial level of your farm and your risk tolerance really helps you put together some targets for profitability and what that relates as your crop production varies throughout the year. Once it's in the bin, we have complete certainty of what that yield is, but allows you to really take a look at your profit prices, the tools that are there to help you lock in those prices, the triggers, like how do we do that, and the responsibility, and there is responsibility to implement your plan through that. And then evaluation is a key part of any analysis, whether it's if you're working with a consistent group like FarmLink to work with you on that, or if you're doing it on your own with those unbiased market information. It's really important to take a look back and not to stress out about what you missed, but in any plan, it's about always tweaking that plan to make sure that with always a drive for continual improvement on that. And we, those are 6 key aspects, but it's a longer journey to develop a smart grain marketing plan for an operation, because there's just so many pieces of it. Tracy, for your farm, if you're interested in more content on our website, on farmlinksolutions.ca, we have an aspect called Grain Marketing 101, which really has what we consider to be the basic elements of a successful grain marketing plan. So you can read more on that there.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. As an industry, sometimes from the business end, I think we're always shouting at farmers, you need to make a grain marketing plan. You need to do transition planning. But sometimes we're not sitting down in an episode like this and saying, well, what is a grain marketing plan? And what are the factors that make up a grain marketing plan? So thank you for sharing that. That was great. I appreciate it. So I want to also talk about the elephant in the room. When we are dealing with farm advisors and grain marketing services, I find sometimes the humans have a little bit of a weird human nature, a weird quirk that we don't like to pay for services because we go, oh geez, we can look up this information, or we can listen to the radio and figure this out. And I'm sure you get asked this, but can you talk to our audience and share a little bit about the benefits of paying for grain marketing services?
Yeah, thanks. You're right. It's a tough. It's sometimes tough to ask for for payment, or to talk about fees and what that looks like. But it's also because what we talked about earlier in this interview is grain marketing's been around for a long time, but the real understanding of how the potential power that has with the strategy and implementation of that is where the value lies. Grain marketing isn't about a short-term, get rich quick scheme or hit the targets, the highs of the markets. And that's, I also mentioned earlier, what grain marketing isn't about, it's not someone that's trying to buy your grain or broker your grain, because that's for sure a key part of the execution of your plan. But, that to sell it on the high or to get the best basis or the best price on that day are very important within that, that piece or that incremental sale that you're making as part of your strategy. But it's not all encompassing of what the only strategy is, to sell it on the high of whatever day it is that you decide to sell. So it's about the long-term results that we're trying to achieve from the marketing, and to achieve long-term sustainability and profits, it's continually renewing and changing our strategies, being able to adapt quickly in the very changing world, externally, but also internally within the local areas that the producers are growing their crops, and it's a key part is, examining really, whether you would have done better on your own or what those selling strategies and the points were to formulate those tactics. And to, I mentioned earlier in the last question about, evaluation. It's really about evaluating kind of where you could have done better, what we could have improved on, and, to maximize future opportunities. So, I guess why should, what are the opportunities out there? There's a very, very lots of different services that are available. And, we've been in business for 18 crop years here now, and we're really leveraging the knowledge of industry. Again, back to the incredible change in technology for production. And in the grain marketing aspect, if you look at, whether it's the fintech business or, the financial industry, there's been so much advancement in technology to help individuals in those instances, develop strategies and help them buy, sell stocks, create their own retirement portfolio. So we're taking some of that knowledge and so that we've done and our own firsthand experience of analysis and working with customers and taking some real world examples of how to really use technology to empower that and to create opportunities for our customers.
Excellent. I like to name that one and call it the elephant in the room, because I have this spidey sense and I can sometimes hear what the audience is thinking or asking. And also, I have been that person where you go, oh, I don't want to pay for this. But the weird human quirk, and you'll see a farmer the next day turn around and buy a quad cash. But they're like, I don't want to pay for a service that'll make me more money. But as producers, put more focus on becoming a better business person, putting some intentional planning behind their grain marketing, they realize that you're paying for knowledge. And now I spend a lot of money when I find people that know what they're doing, I go, okay, they're the best in the industry. These guys know grain marketing. These guys know podcasting. These guys know this. I'm going to pay them for their time to essentially take everything out of their brain and help my business and help my business revenue jump, right? So I like to name that because I think it's human nature. It's a weird little quirk we have, right? If it's tangible, we want to buy it. But if it's service, sometimes we just have this hump to get over. But really, at the end of the day, these tools and having an intentional grain marketing plan can really make a big difference to the top line and the bottom line, right?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, absolutely. And, when we recognize that, hiring and working with a group like FarmLink or a tool like GrainFox is new to a lot of producers. So, what we've, in developing GrainFox and bringing it to the marketplace, we have a 90-day free trial. So for growers to try it out and see if this is something that they would be willing to pay for. And then as we evolve the product line we plan on introducing different levels of different subscription levels, so that producer can really take the nuggets and the information or the pieces that they need, that maybe they're feeling they're missing, or it's something new that they haven't used before in creating their own marketing plan. But all we're trying to do is we're going to create a couple different levels of service to put the power back in the customer's hands, the farmers and the producers' hands, to make the best decisions that they can with all the information is completely unbiased, with only their bottom line and their profitability in mind, in the focus of what we're trying to do.
I love it. And there are some very savvy, very, very savvy producers out there. And I think they're going to jump at this because we are all on our phone. And honestly, in this day and age, we expect this. We expect this kind of service and tools and apps, and it is what we need. So I have a feeling that this is going to be very well received. This is fantastic. So as we work to wrap the interview up, can you share a little bit more about where the audience can learn more about GrainFox and FarmLink?
Yeah, certainly. Our website's the best place to go. It's farmlinksolutions.ca. Anyone can try GrainFox for free for 90 days. It's literally 2 clicks away. And through that trial, you'll be able to see how we can help you achieve your financial goals for your farm. You'll be able to experience the information that we can bring to you on the grain markets and the crops that you're growing, and what that means for your farm operation.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. The future of grain marketing is bright indeed. Thank you so much for taking your time to share your wisdom and what you guys are doing over at FarmLink. I really appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the interview. Thanks.
Excellent. And thank you guys in the audience for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and I really loved it, please go ahead, share, subscribe, and get it out there so other grain producers can hear about FarmLink, GrainFox, and all the great things that are happening in the future of grain marketing. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next week. Bye, guys.
You've been listening to Impact Farming. For more great episodes and articles designed to help you manage and grow your farming operation, head on over to farmmarketer.com. Don't forget to sign up while you're there. We will see you on the next episode.